Wow, are you underwater?
No, but I just gargled tea, and that is awful.
Well, I wish you were underwater with no way up to breathe.
I'm sure you do. Like, if there was things in life that you could change, it's probably the amount of oxygen that I get.
But I'll tell you what's keeping me from breathing right now, Ben, and that's the fact that there's so much good news coming out of pop culture this week, am I right?
Good news, everyone!
I don't know why that's stopping you from breathing. That doesn't really make much sense. But, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode, I'm pretty sure it's 27. Yeah, episode 27 of the CasualCast. I'm your host for this week, Sam Nicholson, joined alongside by Ben Storia. As always, how are you doing, Ben?
Wow, man, I'm genuinely impressed with how you get those numbers every week. I just come on here, I'm like, we're up to the podcast episode 1 right now. Welcome to it.
This is the very first one, if my memory serves me correctly.
Yes, no, the first one of the year, that the first one we'll ever do again. But no, from talking to me for the last 15 minutes before this, I'm sure you know that I'm quite well. Deranged, but well.
Yeah, you really are in a deranged mood today. We'll see how that goes for the podcast. We've never recorded this early in the day before, because we're not doing it live this week, which may be the trend. We may be stopping doing the live show. This lets us prepare a little bit more, pull articles up, and do some reading and whatnot. But the only way I can remember what episode we're actually up to is this notebook where I've jotted it all down. So I just look at last week's notes. I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
The numbers, Mason. What do they mean? Well, I can imagine you've got a sketchbook there and you've just got, like, tallies as though you've been in prison. Just the 5 notches on the belt thing.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, except instead of the notebook, it's on my walls of the place I'm renting. They're going to love me, but they're going to know what episode of the CasualCast last recorded.
You're rocking in there and you're like, episode 25, we talked about this. Episode 3, we talked about this. Episode 30, we talked about this. It'll happen to you too.
I've got one of those investigation boards with, like, the string and the pins connecting everything and all the numbers. They're going to think I'm investigating something. And it'll look quite impressive when we leave this house and they come to check it out.
What could you be like working out with that, though? Is it like my elaborate plan to finally take over the world or anything like that?
It's actually how we talked about it quite a few episodes ago, but how you found out what the 11 secret herbs and spices were. I'm trying to figure out how you know that, because I'm actually a KFC FBI agent tasked to take you out. But
KFC FBI, that's a fucking word, isn't it?
What an acronym. But now you've totally thrown me off and I've forgotten what I was going to talk about. Oh, that's right. So if you guys didn't know already, if you're not following us on Twitter or anything like that, you probably wouldn't know that we launched a rugby league podcast last week. If you guys want to check that out, if you like rugby league or sport in general and anything of the like, it's called The Bunker. It's on all podcast services. And last week we talked about just our round 1 tips and all of the player trades and stuff like that. And then episode 2 should be out this Wednesday along with this podcast. So definitely check that out if you haven't already.
Definitely get amongst it. We've got some interesting views on it. 2 young Australian men who love the sport talk absolute shit with no scientific background. It's great.
I've actually never watched rugby league or listened to rugby league or played rugby league. I know nothing about it. No, yeah, I love my rugby league.
You've only ever read it, right?
I've only ever read it. Someone novelizes all the games and I just read that as like a narrative. Do you want to jump into the first topic?
I think we should. We'll be here for too long otherwise.
Alrighty. Well, everyone probably saw this week, it was one of the biggest stories in gaming of the week, that Fortnite is coming to all mobile devices, allowing crossplay with all of those devices: iPhone, Android, iPads, Mac, PC, and PlayStation 4, and eventually Xbox One is getting in on that as well.
My God.
Only they won't crossplay with PS4. So
they're like that bratty little kid at school who everyone shares their lunches around and they're like, no, this one's mine. No, I'm not going to get on it. No.
Yeah, pretty much. It reminds me of like a first grade spat. I mean, why not just let us do it? No, why not? That if we're playing with everywhere else, there's no reason not to do it. I mean, Sony's original excuse for not having crossplay was we can protect our players if they stick to just our platform. Like, you know, we have the means to ban people and stuff like that, but if someone from another network was abusing someone, we can't do anything about it. But now they're cross-playing with iPhone and PC and all that kind of shit, so that's all out the window. Yeah. That excuse doesn't work anymore. They're just assholes.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it just seems like an archaic argument as well, just the Xbox versus PlayStation thing. Play whatever console you want and just enjoy it. Like, having that argument as a thing to stop such a progression in gaming is absurd, especially when like Fortnite have gone through like loopholes and fucking jumped over mountains to make this game what it is, especially in the like conditions it came into the gaming market in. Because like they had PUBG, which was like the big thing at the time, and then to come out and become like, I want to say like a leader with it is awesome, and then like it just isn't made easy by some of the consoles, I don't think.
Absolutely. I mean, Fortnite has just become the biggest thing of its kind at the moment. It's definitely outshone PUBG, which was the biggest game of last year, pretty much as well. So they've done a really good job because they're just continually updating it. It's free, which lets all the kids get in on it, and now it's just the biggest gaming craze at the moment. I don't know if you've seen all the articles popping around, but like they're from publication stuff saying, is your kid playing Fortnite? Are they playing too much Xbox? Is it turning your kid into a violent kid? So now it's really trending in the sort of mainstream news as well for the wrong reasons.
This is the next COD. That was the thing.
Yeah, remember when Modern Warfare 2 came out? It's like, is your kid shooting up airports?
Oh. Did your son get shot when he was trying to get into the back of an ambulance to escape? Did your son kill Shepard?
Is your scum
Is your scum playing this?
Is your son speaking no Russian? But actually, just a side note, I think you might need to turn your volume down a little bit, and I can hear myself real loud.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How about now?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, cool. Glad we fixed that little bump in the road. I didn't think it'd pick it up from there.
Yeah, I don't know how I was picking that up. It's quite strange.
But is your son letting Ghost die? Because if he is, shoot him. Shoot him instead.
Throw him in the airport, then it's your turn. But
What a grim view. What a grim time to be alive, huh?
Yeah, but I don't know. I remember when I was a kid, you'd see so much of GTA is evil and don't shoot up airports in games and stuff. And then these days, like for years, I hadn't really seen anything about video games being too violent until around this year again. People are all complaining about it, and all the crazy parents are banning their kids from games and stuff when they don't really turn people violent. But that's a debate for another day, I think.
Yeah, no, it definitely stems from like Trump trying to use a gaming reel montage to prove that video games are like making violent people. It's absurd because, you know, there weren't any violent people before video games came around. Boy, when they released Space Invaders, there was a genuine increase in the amount of space attacks.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if my timeline's right, Space Invaders came out and then World War One.
Coincidence, I think not.
But we should probably get back to Fortnite. But, it coming out on mobile devices is absolutely huge because I'm pretty sure Fortnite's biggest market at the moment are like teenager kids, like probably school kids. They're all loving it. It's super arcadey. It works for them, and it's free because if you remember back to when you were a kid, Ben, we didn't have a whole lot of money to buy all of the games.
Oh, definitely. We were one of the less rich demographics, you might say.
Absolutely. So the fact that the biggest game going at the moment is free is huge, and now they can all play it at school and ignore their teachers on their phone. But how it's going to work on a mobile, I don't know. The last shooter I played on a mobile, it was probably in like 2011 maybe on my iPhone 3GS.
That is not fair to compare.
But I feel like it's a touch screen. How do you do good shooting controls on a touch screen to compete with people who have a controller?
Yeah, no, that's definitely going to be one of the big hurdles, but I believe especially with like the technology in phones now that it wouldn't be hard to set up something like a controller, or I'm sure they're going to spend a lot of time designing decent controls for if you don't, for just the touchscreen machine. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's going to be interesting using their, I think it's Frostbite engine that they use for their game. Can you confirm?
It definitely isn't Frostbite. I'm pretty sure Epic Games have their own engine.
Oh, Unreal maybe? Unreal Engine?
Yeah, I think it might be Unreal.
It was one of those big ones that was floating around for a while. But yeah, they use that one, which apparently is like easily transferred to mobile devices. And yeah, no, it's going to be huge because the only other game that has really nailed it is Minecraft. And my god, did that get big? And did the sales on mobile skyrocket for a long time? So, I mean, if Fortnite can nail this, they will be one of the other, they'll be one of only two who pioneer basically the gaming industry.
Absolutely, but they'll also be the first game to have the people playing on mobile also playing with the people on console, also with the people playing on PC, which is huge. But I don't know. I feel like wins are going to come easier for the people on console now because there'll be all these people, like you said last night while we were playing Fortnite, Ben. You're in tilted towers and you see them turn a little bit, then stop, then turn a little bit, just because of how the touchscreen works. Like, Fortnite's a pretty twitch shooter. Like, I find it hard enough just with the controller. I just don't understand how a mobile is going to work, and I might be a little, I would say, under par and impaired when it comes to my Fortnite ability. The par for the course is 9. I'm hitting like 7s. I mean, no, I'm hitting like 11s. That's not how golf works.
Yeah, I'm really good at Fortnite. I'm really good at it. I'm under par.
I'm also really good at golf.
I want to say that you're absolutely terrified in Fortnite, which is probably your main downfall, because as soon as you see people, it's just a shit show.
Pretty much. Hey, I grabbed a couple of cool kills last night.
Yeah, you did. I'll admit that. But, oh god, I don't even know what we're talking about. We lost it after talking shit about it. But, when you play mobile games now, I think it's going to use the similar style to other games that I have played, where in the bottom right-hand corner and left-hand corner, there'll be essentially just a wheel that you can move around with your thumb. Pushing it left will turn you left, I assume. Pushing it right will turn you right. There might be on the left-hand side just basic, like jump, shoot, whatever. So I feel like it's not going to be as bad as we've portrayed it to be with our little stupid idea. But really, there's going to be a bit of a disadvantage regardless, because on top of everyone, you've got the PC players who have that sensitivity, those hotkeys. It's just going to be like a lot quicker. PlayStation then for shooters is still like good for aiming, things of the sort, because you've got both the axes, which almost replicates having your mouse there. But yeah, no, like you said, it's just going to be that disadvantage to those playing on a phone if they don't have a controller. Just because of like that split second, you could be great at those games, but you're always going to be at a disadvantage. I don't know if that's going to drive people away when they see that it's really hard for it, but I don't know. Can't speak for people.
I agree, and especially now that PC players are kind of in on it. I don't know if you've watched much footage, like streams of PC players or anything, but the way they can build, especially in that game, which is a huge mechanic, building saves lives. It's ridiculous. You can build at an incredibly quick pace and build really good structures, like in an instant. Whereas you can't do that to the same extent on console and on mobile. Dear God, like, those poor kids trying to do it. And inventory management isn't really going to work as well on the fly either, I can imagine. I mean, with a controller, you can look around, press R1 and L1 to switch your weapons back and forth. You don't need to take your hands off anything, so you can still jump, move, aim, and change weapons at the same time. You won't be able to do that with iPhone or Android. And then PC is even better for it because you've got your hotkeys. So
the only thing I can imagine is like maybe on the left-hand side, they might have a bar up the side and a couple to the right, like an L maybe on the bottom-hand corner, where maybe the buttons above it will change your weapons, and then and also like maybe switch between build mode and your guns, and then maybe the ones on the bottom will be shoot, jump, crouch. Like there might be that divide between them, and probably your menu and your inventory will probably be higher up as well, somewhere where you press it and you can change your weapons around. I don't know. It's very interesting. I'm very glad that they're making this jump, though. Like, it was going to be done sooner or later, I think. And with the game kind of still reaching its peak of popularity, this is a greater time as any.
Yeah, absolutely. But another thing that people have kind of brought up with all this news is Battlegrounds players are getting kind of salty that Fortnite is doing so well, because their game came out first. I suppose it was the first dedicated game to this, rather than it just being a mode in other games. And I don't know, they were like, oh, Fortnite's shit, it's so arcadey, blah, blah, blah. And then, I don't know, a lot of people are saying that PUBG is dead, but it was the biggest and most downloaded game of last year. I see PUBG sort of still continuing on a good stride. Not as well as Fortnite's. It's well and truly taken over. But yeah, PUBG is going to go well because it's a totally different game entirely. And it suits different people, I suppose. Like a lot of people like the more gritty, realistic element to it. And I haven't played much PUBG, but I definitely plan on it. That game seems like it's a little bit more fun to me. But I don't know, you get the realism of it. You have the vehicles and stuff like that. The loot system is way deeper than Fortnite's. Like that still has its kind of audience as well. But would you see a mobile PUBG coming? You wouldn't. They probably wouldn't have crossplay. But would you see a mobile PUBG?
No, I mean, because the fact that consoles can't run it well enough, I wouldn't put it on a mobile. like when you load something up on a console, it's not by any means like a weak machine. Like consoles are made to play games, they can play them, and then when they release PUBG onto Xbox and you can basically not play it, I don't think you start thinking about mobile for a long time until you've perfected that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I feel like they could develop a downscaled mobile version, maybe kind of from ground up,
maybe,
but
yeah.
that'd take a long time. But I think what they should probably focus on is new maps and new features and stuff with PUBG, and maybe some weekly kind of updates like Fortnite does, just adding new shit in all the time to keep people playing.
Yeah, keeping them engaged. I saw that PUBG is putting an update out with new maps, some new gear and emotes and things of the sort, but I can't help but feel just the too little too late kind of thing, where they're behind the curve now, and I don't know if they can push back and take over. Just because PUBG is that realistic one, and it's still taking like time to play your map because it's so big. Whereas if you're playing Fortnite, you can jump in, die, and jump straight back out. I know you can do that with PUBG as well, but I think it definitely appeals to the wider audience. And like you said, with the realism, that is something that draws me to it because I reckon that would be a lot of fun. Definitely a steep learning curve for me because I'm not amazing at shooters on PC, but something I want to learn to get into more. But I'm looking forward to eventually playing it. But the one thing that has really annoyed me is how salty you said people are getting from the PUBG side at Fortnite for doing well. They will just not let them have any foreground on a win per se, even though it's not. Their games just become popular.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, I thought dumb fanboy spats were all but over.
Yeah.
And,
well, the things I tagged you on Facebook for an example, how angry people are.
Yeah, that's it. And then, it's ridiculous. So you've got that. Like, I mean, the last thing I can remember that was similar is probably Battlefield and Call of Duty. And I was one of the kids back then. I wasn't the ones making the argument, but I was sort of in that demographic of people going, no, COD's better. No, Battlefield's better. No, COD's better. Like, it was all people my age doing that at the time. So I'd see that at school or all over the internet and stuff like that. And I thought that had died. I thought that was gone, but it turns out I just grew into an ignorant adult, and everyone's still arguing, but now it's ignorant adults arguing as well.
It's that generation we grew up with that had those wars, still playing with those wars and keeping them alive. We all just were like dormant, waiting for it to come back again. And now that it's back, we can all weigh in and have our say, which is so very important on social media.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, a lot of the times I can probably say, hey, the gaming community is awesome and I love it. It's a real cool community. But right now, it's like the gaming community fucking sucks.
I don't know. It's like, it's weird because I don't know if everyone that you see commenting on things on Facebook can really consider themselves like as much as a gamer as they are an asshole. Because like some people obviously just give their opinion, but some people just for the sake of it will argue something, not like give their point. They'll just be a dick. And I want to say that you're not part of the group. I just want to let them know that now.
You can't sit with us.
Me. Yeah, exactly. You're that kid. You're not allowed to sit with us.
Whether you like it or not, they will find their way onto the chair. Because you'll see them in, gaming comments and message boards everywhere. They're definitely a part of the community. Just
no, they definitely are. I'm just saying that I don't like it. I think it's a shit thing to bag someone for something they enjoy playing.
I think so too. Rule 1 of life, don't be a dick. I mean, let people enjoy what they want to enjoy,
I'd like to think that would be always the rule 1 for everything, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But
humans are inherently shit.
Yeah. So, Fortnite is slowly taking over the planet, and Epic Games is probably going to be the biggest company in the entire world because all of the 2-year-olds and 12-year-olds, probably not 2-year-olds, they're all stealing their dad's credit card and buying battle passes and shit like that.
Well,
and they're making all the money. I wonder if PUBG will take a similar thing, like maybe go free to play or drop their prices a lot and put a ton of microtransactions in. I reckon that'd gain a lot of traffic for them.
Yeah, maybe. That could definitely be something that would interest a lot more people because, like you said, kids who don't have much money, and I'm sure parents aren't always just going to be like, oh, here's money for this or here's money for that, blah, 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 blah. It would interest more people because they can actually get access to it. Whereas I don't know if that would be enough to still push against Fortnite at the moment just because of the too little too late. They've just taken off because I think they're almost tripling the amount of people that are streaming it and the sales are exponential against each other.
Yeah.
I don't know if you agree that you have the same kind of view that I think they're not doing enough soon enough to really hold that market. Because they had every opportunity when they were the biggest sellers, had all this kind of stuff, and then it just seems like there was a lull in development. Yeah, they had like bug patches and small things added in, but they needed to take those steps where there was like a new map earlier on, and there was like maybe a new vehicle, new weapons, new strategies, even new game modes. Just things that really just keep you wanting to come back. Because I find that with multiplayer games that if it's the same thing, unless I really fucking like it, I can't really be put back into it.
Mm-hmm.
Fortnite's definitely got that for me because every gameplay is different. Where people have built, where the circle is, the ridiculous like weapons they have, and just like the boogie bombs, things that are fun and interesting, making encounters unique. I don't know if that is a thing for PUBG because like you've got kind of people who are going to snipe you or shoot you from, I guess, like hotspots, or they just drive a car through. I don't know, it just doesn't seem like it is as fun to me. That's just a personal opinion. I'm sure it is a lot of fun, and I probably would very much enjoy playing it. But at the moment, I'm definitely like set with the Fortnite.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree where it might have been too early, or whatever it is that you said about PUBG.
Too little, too late.
Oh, too little, too late. Yeah, that one. Because, I mean, PUBG came out, it was the biggest game in the world, and they were like, oh, nothing can touch us. And then Epic Games released Battle Royale, not as their primary focus of the game Fortnite. Like, Battle Royale came out to sell copies of the core Fortnite game, which no one plays, because Battle Royale just got way too big.
It's free.
So,
fuck
yeah.
that. I'm not going to give this game that I've put thousands of hours into money.
Yeah, I mean... it's strange. I don't think they foresaw how popular Battle Royale was going to be. It was just a mode to sell the core Fortnite game. And now no one gives a shit about the core Fortnite game. And Battle Royale is the biggest game in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And they were really smart enough to put microtransactions in immediately and make all of that coin. Because they're rolling in it.
Cosmetic, which is amazing too. No gameplay advantages whatsoever. It's just cosmetics.
Yeah, which is great. And
I love that.
All of that you can earn for free too if you put the hours in. Admittedly, it's a lot of hours that I'll never put in to earn those skins, but I don't really give a shit about their skins.
Yeah, no, we're definitely those plebeians that run around in the duo, and it's like, huh, look at them. They're generic and unsullied humans that haven't bought anything.
Yeah, absolutely. But then
Laugh
you've
at
got all
them and
those
click your
kids,
tongues.
which is the primary market, and they're just like, oh my god, I can be a knight? Dad, give me your credit card. And yeah, and then that's what they're doing. That's what kids sound like in my head, apparently.
All of them are small and like heavily accented.
Yeah, it's really smart, but I think it might also be too late for PUBG to change their pricing schedule, because look how many people have already bought the game outright.
Yeah.
They've already spent the money. Like, that's a big fuck you to those people if they're like, oh, PUBG's free to play now, but you can buy cosmetics and stuff. Like, yeah. They're a little bit stuck.
Just touching on like the Fortnite Battle Royale not being the primary like selling point for it, they wanted to sell the core game. That was their idea. It makes sense to me too, looking at the games that like Epic have made before, like starting with like Unreal Tournament, something that everyone considered to be an extremely fun, like dynamic kind of game that had like a cult following, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And then, and then they have the game. God damn it! I should probably just have it up in front, shouldn't I? Then they have Gears of War. That's it, and it's got a great story, I hear. A lot of cool weapons and things like that keep you interested. And you've played through them, haven't you?
Yeah, I've played through the original trilogy all on 360, and they really took a lot of ideas. Actually, I wouldn't say a lot of ideas, but Gears of War definitely inspired a lot of things about Battle Royale, because Gears of War was a super shotgun-based game.
Yep.
It was especially the multiplayer is really quick and fast, and definitely trying to land those clutch shotgun headshots. That's what it was all about, and it plays really similar just without the cover system in Battle Royale, and I think it plays really well.
Yeah. Well, like, they've got all the elements there to create a great Battle Royale game is basically what I'm trying to get at.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing what, like, a large audience is going to enjoy in a game is always, like, a hard part, because you can never really nail it because of the vast majority of people who play. But, yeah, no, Fortnite definitely incorporated everything they had from other games, as well as taking the Fortnite elements that they had and just made a really good Battle Royale. Actually, something here that just caught my eye. I don't know if you ever had on your little mobile device when you were younger a game called Infinity Blade.
Yeah, I did. That was the swords game,
so
right? Like about the knights. Yeah,
they made that game as well, and that's really kind of trigged my memory, and then also intrigued me on how they're going to make Fortnite as a mobile game, because I've got experience in it. Yeah, and that game looked amazing, and it played well. Like, I can see there being like a decent setup for the mobile. So that's got me a little bit more excited.
Wow, I didn't know they made that game, because from memory, that was like the prettiest mobile game you could ever have played back in the day. I don't know how it holds up now.
I got it.
Yeah,
got a couple of minutes before, not minutes, like a couple of days before it became paid or something. I was like, yes, ahead of the curve.
Like, god damn, they know how to make a game run well on the old mobile arena.